The Accidental Entrepreneur is brought to you with the help of our sponsor, AWeber, the world's leading small business email marketing and automation service provider. Since 1998, AWeber has helped more than 1 million small businesses and entrepreneurs through its suite of web-based email marketing, automation tools, and education. AWeber, the best option when it comes to marketing your business. The podcast is also brought to you by the Alternative Board. Since 1989, the Alternative Board, or TAB, has been one of the leading peer advisory and business coaching organizations for independent business owners and CEOs across the world. By facilitating peer advisory boards, private one-on-one coaching, and strategic planning services, TAB helps business owners improve their businesses in ways that change their lives. And be sure to check out our affiliate sponsor, One of One Productions, the New Jersey-based podcast studio that produces and edits both audio and video podcasts. They sell equipment for the avid podcaster and have even created a guesting kit exclusively for our listeners. And be sure to support the podcast by ordering some logo merchandise from our online store. Listen to all of our sponsors' commercials later in this episode and follow their links in the show notes to learn more about their products and services.
Yeah, there's these little moments of coming home every day. Emily, I can't believe this guy didn't work out, and he comes on and we to tell him what his job is and then tell him how to do it, and he can't do it, so I've got to go do it for him, and then he quits or I fire him, and it was everybody else's problem, right? Why is everybody leaving my business? Why is everybody betraying me? Why is everybody and
Don't blame other people.
Of course, it's easy, super easy.
Of course.
And I'm a pretty type A, pretty aggressive, pretty assertive guy. So I'm hard to approach. Yeah, that's a little from New Jersey, man. Come on.
Right.
And this guy that had been mentoring me, he'd call BS on me a lot. He's like, hey, man, he goes, not too many people can tell you this, but have you ever thought that maybe you're the problem? Maybe you're the one that needs to grow up. Maybe you're the one that needs to develop. Maybe you're the one that needs to understand how to treat people. I was not a kind or nice person to work for back in the early days of business. And that's just how it was. So when I realized that, the analogy is I'm standing at the top of this $1 million mountain and I didn't bring anybody up with me. Leadership is not, it's not even about dragging people up. It's about, bringing them up and elevating them up really in front of you.
Right.
So I said, hey, at this point, I can be up here and I can keep climbing by myself and working myself to death and, gaining and earning the reputation of what I was gaining and earning, which wasn't a great thing, but it was always masked by the business success and the awards and all of that. So I said, hey, I'm going to come back down and I'm going to figure this out. And I really started digging into my story personally, professionally, looking at the things that I needed to work on and make better.
The information provided in these episodes is for entertainment purposes only. It is not a guarantee of success or to be construed as advice of any kind. You should always seek advice from local licensed professionals before making any decisions.
The dictionary defines an entrepreneur as a person who organizes and manages any enterprise, especially a business, usually with considerable initiative and risk. People often start a business without much choice, perhaps due to a job loss or just being dissatisfied at work, and they come up with an idea they just know can be successful. They become entrepreneurs by accident. That is to say, their success or failure happens by accident, not with intention. My name is Mitch Beinhacker. I'm a corporate attorney and a business advisor. You're listening to The Accidental Entrepreneur, my podcast about how to achieve success on purpose, not by accident. Join me along with our monthly guests where we share our knowledge and help you get a hold of your business. And now on to today's episode.
Hey there, I'm Matt Shoup, and I'm a Northern Colorado entrepreneur, father, husband, keynote speaker, author, Spanish coffee addict, and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. I love sharing stories with people to help make their life, business, and leadership better.
Matt, thanks for coming on the show. I usually like to get into, your background, kind of where you're from, where you grew up, which, you're not like, starting a log cabin, but, where your background, your education, what you learned, how you learned entrepreneurship, and let's work it all the way up to what you're doing now in your book and, all the inspiring things that you're doing now, but you had to start somewhere. So maybe you can tell that story. Does that sound like a good place to start?
Yeah, no, Mitch, sounds awesome. Thank you first off for having me here and letting me share the story. So I'm from New Jersey originally. I was born in Teaneck, Grew up in Montclair,
Teaneck.
lived there. Yeah,
Bergen
Teaneck.
County.
Bergen
My
County.
wife and I
Grew up.
lived in Montclair. My sister still lives in Montclair.
Yeah. I lived there till I was 9 or 10 years old. And, I kind of ran around with a group of kids. I got in trouble a lot. And looking back, most of those kids, all other than one that I still communicate with to this day, they're dead in prison or disappeared. They're just not around anymore. And my parents moved us out to northern Colorado in the early 90s. I was 10 years old. And my first experience with business, and it was really monumental for me as I look back, because I grew up in just kind of a crazy environment. I got bullied a lot. I wasn't very confident. I was scared to go out in the world. Wasn't the sports kid, wasn't the popular kid, was pretty smart academically. And one summer I said, hey, I want a boom box. They're $200. Compact discs were coming out, and asked my parents to give me some money. They said, nope, figure out a way to make your own. So I grabbed their lawnmower and just went up and down the street in our neighborhood, knocking on doors and mowing lawns. And that was my first exposure and experience to, hey, I have a goal. I want something. I can go work for it. And, with my own accord, my own risk, my own resources. And I made that $200 plus, a little bit extra. So that for me, though, it gave me a confidence, and it gave me a certainty, and it gave me some identity that I was really struggling to find back at that age. So that just became what I really poured my time, energy, and attention into. And lawn mowing became snow shoveling, candy peddling, out of the locker.
Became a business.
Yeah, and then I had a business, right? All unofficial.
Did you get the boom box?
Oh yeah, I got the really awesome.
Nobody knows
boom
what
box.
that is, by the way. Listening, they listen to music on their phone and things. They don't know what a boom box is.
It's a big plastic box, and they used to carry. If you go watch the old 80s, 90s rap videos, it's set it right up here. Speakers. You've got the cassette player, CD player. What was it? The D bat. You had 18 D batteries, something crazy in there,
like that, right?
and so that was my initial exposure. I didn't grow up and have other examples really of entrepreneurship, or have somebody that showed it to me. It was just what I found that I was good at.
Your parents weren't entrepreneurs; they were W-2 corporate
employees. Yeah, and then my mom stayed home, my dad worked, and that was kind of the exposure to it. So then I fast forward till 20. I'm at Colorado State University studying, and I really didn't know what I wanted to study academically. I went to school because everybody else did. That's just what the crowd was doing.
Right.
Yeah. And, I'm glad I went to college, but not for the 2 degrees that I don't use. Right. I mean, and they're not business degrees. So I'm in a class one morning, and a guy comes in and says, hey, I'm here with a national company. We're doing internships for students that are interested in marketing, sales, business, and you get to work with another company's money and go out and run a business. They didn't tell me what it was. They just said, fill out this little card. And then little do I know, I get into the recruiting funnel of a college painting company. So I spent 4 years from 99 to 03 working with them, and learned all about, more about marketing and sales, but really the residential house painting business, and made a bunch of money in college. And I spent 3 times what I made. And I knew that business was going to be my thing, but I didn't think I'd stay in the painting business. It's, it's blue collar, it's manual labor, it's hot, it's seasonal. And, I tell people it wasn't a sexy business. I wanted to go get into, mortgage banking, and had a couple of guys that I knew that were making a killing back then, and graduated.
Built some big house painting businesses in high school and college.
Mm-hmm.
There's a guy I know in Canada that runs a program that teaches kids how to start and run businesses. They do it through a house painting program. And the guys that are running the little businesses, they're not getting up on the ladders and painting the houses. They're hiring the guys to do it, all that kind of stuff. So you could make it a business, but it doesn't sound like it was like that enamorous to you. You're like, oh, wow.
It was great. It was great money, but I just said, there's got to be another way. There's going to be something else that I pursue. I think I was too concerned about the perception that others had about the business in which I'd be, running, operating, and making money. So, I get married. I meet Emily in college sweetheart. We get married. We're upside down in an over leveraged house. Never should have been able to buy a house. And I'm working in a mortgage banking company and not really enjoying life. I'm hating my job and plotting my escape, trying to figure out what I want to do.
What do you hate about it?
It was very corporate, suit and tie. It was the sit down, shut up, do what you're told, make your 150 calls, report back to me. And there was no freedom for me to get creative about the ways that I would generate business. I was always a very creative kid, and they wouldn't let me do that. And, it just was, very restrictive environment. And
Right.
so I come in one day, just another normal day of not loving my job, and they brought in a new bank president. He pulled me into the office and said, "Put all your shit in a box and leave. You're fired." And it was a pretty quick swing of the hammer there. And 2 seconds later, I'm standing out in the parking lot with everything in a box, no job, trying to figure out what I'm going to tell Emily when I get home in about 15 minutes.
And why'd they
And
let you go? They didn't tell
you know
you?
what? Yeah, so they could tighten up their P&L, and who knows what they were doing. It was the
Right.
typical, corporate
Yeah.
overhaul, changing of the
Business is
guards.
coming
And
in and you get chopped. Right. Of course.
yeah, they didn't take the time to tell me, nor care, nor anything. And it was cool. It was one of the worst days of my life, but best days of my life, because it really
Right.
opened the
So
path
you're
for
in your
me to
20s
go in.
now, right? Like mid to late 20s, probably?
Yeah, 05. So I'm just 23. Yeah, I would be 24 that summer. So I was 23. Yeah, recently married.
Right.
Couple
Okay.
$100,000 in debt, and
Yeah.
standing there like, what am I going to do? All I know how to do is run paint crews. So on the drive home, I called, not Emily, called a couple painters from college painting and said, "Hey guys, we're going to take a run at this, and give me about 30 days and you're going to have a whole bunch of work." They said, sounds good. Well, why are you doing that? I said, "Well, they just fired me at the bank." They go, "Oh yeah, we knew that would happen. You're not a bank guy. You're a business guy." And that was the founding of my first company, M&D Painting. I opened it with the last $100 we really could spare at the time, and literally just went out and knocked on doors and got really clear with marketing methods and conversion ratios, and was just really buried down in the X's and O's of building the business, for the first couple of years.
Right. But you didn't, it wasn't like you went to business school, right? I mean, you had a business degree, I guess, business and marketing, right, at college?
No,
What
I
was you in
have
school?
a child development and family studies degree. So I love
that's
kids.
perfect.
I wanted to teach. And they were going to bring in an elementary ed program at CSU, and they ended up doing it in a way to where I would have had 4 more years of school, and I didn't want to be 8 years in school. And then my other degree is in Spanish. So I did a semester abroad over in Spain my junior year of college, and just totally fell in love with Spain, the culture, the everything about it. And I was debating through the business process of, hey, do I go back to Spain and do another trip, do more studies over there, and just ended up staying here. But yeah, I mean, everything about business I learned by doing business, not studying business.
Interesting. And that's true for a lot of people. I mean, you go out and you were had the perseverance and the fortuitiveness to figure it all out and get through it and learn. And I'm sure you're going to tell me that you made a lot of mistakes along the way. So
yeah, so many. Yeah. And I was hard-headed, and I was stubborn, and I was angry that I got fired. One of the things the bank president says after he said, "Go put all your stuff in a box," is he goes, "Maybe you should go back and do that painting thing," and he cinches up his tie because he's better than me and looking down on me. So I was like, all right, maybe I will there, buddy. And, I had a lot to prove back then. And, there was a lot of reasoning behind that. But the point of sharing that is the X's and O's of business. I was not focused on personal growth, personal development, leadership, leading others, inspiring others. It was like, make money. I'm going to become a millionaire.
Pay the bills.
And I was throwing the middle finger to the world of people that didn't believe in me. And there's maybe there's a time for that. That'll take you so far. But when I got to where I wanted to be, I realized that I didn't take anybody else up there with me. So my business journey turns into this leadership journey as well, that really coincides with, you can grow a business if you work harder and work more, but you cannot scale and build anything great that outlives you, that you can step away from if you don't know how to lead people. And I really didn't know how to lead people.
Yeah. All right. So how did you get to that? So you have this business, your first business. What was the what was the progression with that?
Yeah, there's these little moments of coming home every day. Emily, I can't believe this guy didn't work out. And, he comes on and we, to tell him what his job is and then tell him how to do it. And he can't do it. So I've got to go do it for him. And then he quits, or I fire him. And it was everybody else's problem, right? Why is everybody leaving my business? Why is everybody betraying me? Why is everybody?
And Don't blame other people.
Of course, it's easy, super easy.
Of course.
And I'm a pretty type A, pretty aggressive, pretty assertive guy. So I'm hard to approach. Yeah, that's a little from New Jersey, man. Come on.
Right.
And this guy that had been mentoring me, he'd call BS on me a lot. And he's like, "Hey, man," he goes, "not too many people can tell you this, but have you ever thought that maybe you're the problem? Maybe you're the one that needs to grow up. Maybe you're the one that needs to develop. Maybe you're the one that needs to understand how to treat people." I was not a kind or nice person to work for back in the early days of business. And that's just how it was. So when I realized that, the analogy is I'm standing at the top of this $1 million mountain, and I didn't bring anybody up with me. Leadership is not, it's not even about dragging people up. It's about, bringing them up and elevating them up really in front of you.
Right.
So I said, hey, at this point, I can be up here and I can keep climbing by myself and working myself to death and, gaining and earning the reputation of what I was gaining and earning, which wasn't a great thing, but it was always masked by the business success and the awards and all of that. So I said, hey, I'm going to come back down and I'm going to figure this out. And I really started digging into my story personally, professionally, looking at the things that I needed to work on and make better in my life, just as a man in general. And your business will only grow and be healthy to the degree that you are personally, whatever shit you're carrying, that's going to roll right over into your business. And if you think it won't, then let it, you keep doing what you're doing. And, that's effectively what this guy said to me. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's funny because I was thinking there must be some sort of an outlying event that happened and you had a mentor and you had somebody who you were, at least even with your stubbornness, right, probably looked up to for advice and guidance and so forth. And he said, like you said, he called bullshit on you and he said, enough with this and you got to do it the right way. And you took it. But you're right. A lot of people don't. And they're mad at the world and they, everybody else's problem and it's all their fault. And I can't control this. And the people and it leads to, mental illness and stuff, but depression and things like that. And it's the strong people that say, hey, no, I am in the driver's seat. I can make decisions that make things better to get there. And if I want to get there, I can't keep blaming everybody. Because you and I both know that there are always challenges in life. That's the sign of life is challenges and opportunities. And if you know that there will always be challenges and opportunities, it's just a question of how you deal with them, not whether they come or not.
It is. And I heard this quote and I don't know who exactly founded it or started it, but they said a successful winning person, they're sitting on top of a mountain of their failures, challenges, obstacles, adversities, hurts, traumas, pains, all the crap. They're sitting on top celebrating like, yeah, I went through that and I figured that out. And then somebody that lives in scarcity and failure and victimhood and all of these, negatively empowering emotions, they're laying underneath them, just letting them crush them. Same stuff, different people, different perspective. But, I would challenge listeners to say, hey, however you got into business, right? Accidentally, maybe a little on purpose is, what's your story? Who are the people that came into your story and invested in your life? Like whatever experiences you have with people that you remember, that's going to give you some belief systems and some frameworks that you think about the world. And just what I came from was, people are going to screw you over. They're going to betray you. You can't trust anybody. So that's how I ran business. And when I realized that there's another way to do things, and it was just me needing to get over my own stuff and literally go to therapy and counseling. And oh my gosh, a man is sitting here saying that, like, men, we can't say that. We can't admit that. Like, that's bullshit, man. Like everybody's got stuff.
People are the ones that go for the therapy, not the ones who don't. Here's a word from our sponsors. Looking to market and grow your business? Or perhaps you're just getting started and want to hit the ground running? AWeber is the best choice for online email marketing and automation of your business. From maintaining a subscriber list to drip campaigns and landing pages, AWeber gives you tools and integrations that make marketing easy and fun. As our partner and sponsor, we use all their tools to promote the podcast and market our law firm. AWeber, the best alternative for online marketing. For over 30 years, the Alternative Board, or TAB, has built a thriving community of forward-thinking CEOs and business owners who want to radically improve their companies. Through unique combinations of one-on-one business coaching, participation in monthly TAB board meetings with other non-competing owners, a suite of strategic tools, and customized strategic planning workshops, TAB membership can deliver greater strength to your business and a better work-life balance for you and your family. All packaged in a streamlined and affordable service that the people at TAB invite you to try risk-free. Maybe you're looking to get into podcasting, or you just want to market your business. Maybe you want to do it for enjoyment, or because you have a message you want to get out there. One of One Productions is a New Jersey-based studio just over the George Washington Bridge that caters to the booming business of podcasting. They offer a comfortable atmosphere using the latest technology available to record your podcast. And they are a full-service media company offering both audio and video production services, creating both audio and video podcasts, as well as video shorts for business and personal use. Professional audio equipment packages are available through their website for all budgets. And be sure to check out their podcast guesting kit, created especially for our listeners. Follow the link in the show notes to learn more about all of our sponsors. And now back to our show.
And when I started doing that, I found, you peel those layers back, you're like, ooh, there's some things in between these layers that I've got to deal with. And then, when you can get really vulnerable and honest about just where you're at, and then come back to those people within the business and say, guys, like, here's what I've just realized and discovered and observed, and here's what I'm going to work on. Here's what I want you to hold me accountable to. And some people saw that in my business. They're like, dude, I want to be a part of that. That's weird. We just want to work for you as a boss.
People. Right, exactly.
But the ones that did, like, they're still here to this day, and you go on this journey together, and it just makes business different at another level. You're literally pouring into the lives of other people, and helping somebody that comes to your business to be a sales producer discover what's going on with their story. It's really cool. I mean, I love what I do every day.
Helping people develop, and it develops you. Some people need real therapy. Well, maybe all of us need therapy to a certain extent, but a business mentor is really like a business therapist, right? It's somebody to bounce ideas off of. It's amazing what we can do and work through just by talking things out with other people who have a different perspective or more experience, or I've been doing this for 30 years. I deal with situations obviously much different than a lot of my clients do when they freak out about whatever's going on, and I calm them down and say, this is how it works, and this is why, and this is how we have to deal with it. And it's a testament to you that you got there, that you got through that, to the end, because some people don't come out the other end, or they don't. It affects their success, or they fail 20 times before they get to success. They say you want to fail your way to success. You don't want to do it 20 times, but you'll run out of time in life. But,
gaining some wisdom and perspective to not do it again. Yeah, it's like you want to do it and learn the lesson, but then not go back and do it again. But I'd share too, like, don't be so proud that you can't ask for help and say that you don't know something. I think as leaders, we need, it's this false perception that we need to be strong and always, firm in what we're standing on. We always need the answer, always need the solution. I've been sitting around the table many times with my team. Hey, I don't know what to do, guys. Right. I've got nothing right now. What do you have? And somebody says, I've got this. Okay, let's give that a try. So, it's been fun. I mean, like I said in the intro, I just love helping people, business owners in particular. And it's a lot of men. It's a lot of men. I find my audience are men that have gone through some kind of traumas, and they're trying to deal with that as they're trying to grow their business and grow their life. And it's all connected. We're just humans serving other humans, and you measure it in business with money and P&Ls and
the big picture. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So where'd you go from the painting business? What was the next iteration?
So the painting business was in 2011. I wrote Become an Award-Winning Company. That was my jump into the authorship space.
So you still had the company at that point, painting company.
Still had the painting company. Yeah, so that was growing, and that was going. We also in 2010 we invented and trademarked a tool. It's called the Pirate Patch Drywall Repair Tool. It's a little stencil that you can patch drywall texture with, and we were learning a lot about that as that company started and got going. We now sell it just purely online on Amazon, Walmart.com.
Right. Yeah,
so that's going on.
We'll put a link in the show notes for if people are curious and they want to see the product.
No, absolutely. Yeah, no. And that's been a really fun story, but started writing and speaking and just sharing my story with other business owners, about a decade ago. And then that from there has we've also launched, we have a jiu-jitsu academy. So Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu school. It's one of my personal passions that turned into a business. And then I do some real estate investing, and I'm also a licensed agent. So I get to do some work in that. But my next 10 to 20 years, I really want to write more books, speak a lot more, and build an entrepreneurial community of other business owners where we can support and uplift and encourage each other. And, it's difficult times, even when times are good. Like business is hard. Business is hard. And I feel, and I've experienced and observed that a lot of other entrepreneurs feel kind of isolated, like they're on an island. And to, imagine having a group of people that you can just come to at the drop of a hat, and they might not have the answers, but they can at least share experiences with you to give you perspective.
So are you saying almost like an advisory, mentoring type of community?
Yeah. So I'm looking at, and we're just in the brainstorming, napkin at lunchtime phase right now. But a group of like-minded entrepreneurs where we get together, whether it's in person or remote. There's learning events, there's coaching, there's a database of support, and then we have a big annual event where we bring everybody here to Colorado to bring in some speakers and teaching. So yeah, I call it a mastermind advisory group, club, gang.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, okay. So maybe you can share, because at some point I'm going to, we're not going to take a commercial break on this show, but it'll be edited in later.
Okay.
At some point of the show, or after the break, I'd like to talk to you about some of the things you've learned along the way, some of the mistakes you think you made, the kind of advice you give to other people I assume you're mentoring people now too, right? Through book and things like that. So, if that, makes sense, let's get into that stuff now.
Let's do it. Love it. Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good. So tell me about what are some of the mistakes that you look back and say, oh, I should have done that differently. And it was a learning experience, but it was a mistake.
Yeah. So first thing is putting profit before people.
At the world. That was a mistake.
Guys, and there's so many, right? I mean, if I could sum it up in some of the real big ones, is putting profit before people. Was, like I said, very good at the execution of business, and to me, business was a person is just a cog in a wheel to produce profit and return on investment, and there's ratios, and you need to track all that in business. You don't want to not make profit, but right. I put profit in front of people, and people were severely affected by that. So turning that around, I've just got a little saying: if you focus on the profit, the people will run. If you invest in the people, the profit will come. When I started focusing on making the lives of people better, you still have to work at the business, but it's just a different culture. It's a different feeling. Right. And then the other thing with that in mind is I think we overcomplicate business a lot, way too much. So business author Mike Michalowicz, he wrote a book.
I love
called,
Mike
he's a Jersey guy. He's
been on the podcast.
Yeah, no, Mike's a good dude. Yeah, and
great guy.
He wrote in Clockwork, he used the AC/DC analogy, right? So it's attract, convert, deliver, collect. When you start a business, there's just so many things to do. Go out, find one way to attract your ideal client, identify them, and do something creative and different to get in front of them. You have to interrupt that conversation and then start a conversation about business. And then you convert them. You give them something that they need, makes their life better, ask them for business, deliver that, and then get paid. Yeah. And we layer it with, oh, I've got this CRM and this system and this fancy thing and this, and no, it's just who's your client? Simplify. Just keep it simple. Right. And then triple down on what you're good at. So I stole that one from Jersey guys, man. Like, I guess follow Jersey guys is my other advice, right? Gary V, right? He just says, you're good at marketing. He was a
Jersey guy, right?
Marketing and sales, that's my thing. So that's what I'm going to invest in. I'm not going to try to get better at something I suck at, like accounting. I don't ever want to do it. So I'm going to hire somebody that's also amazing at that. Another lesson that I'd share is things just take longer than you think they're going to take.
Yeah.
We see success, every overnight success, right? It was a 20-year overnight success.
Right. You don't know about the other 19 years that it took them to get there. Yeah.
Well, and you'll read my bio, right, for the podcast, wherever that's put, or it's on the the link. Oh my gosh, look at all these awards and this success, man. I grinded for, I'm sitting here 2 decades later, still figuring it out, still figuring out who I am. So your journey starts with the first step, and it's going to meet you where you're at. and you just have to take it, and then ask for help, look for mentors. I really think those
I'm a big
four.
believer in mentors. When
Yeah,
you get started
yeah.
in business, find people that are more successful than you. Have a cup of coffee with a guy every month for the first year, and it will push
Mhm.
you up the success ladder
Yeah,
and just teach you things that, look, you're going to make mistakes along the way on your
yeah,
own. But if you could avoid some of them or make better decisions along the way because of other people's experience, then, that you can't
yes,
replace that type of thing. And a lot of people, they find out later on, they discover that having a mentor and advisor makes sense, or asking people for their opinions or this or that makes sense after they've kind of fumbled a little bit,
yeah, yeah.
So yeah,
Sometimes that's
good
the
advice.
catalyst to go get one. And then the coolest part about business too is, it's like somebody pours into you. I remember this guy. His name's Marwan Chatilla. I don't think anybody would really know who he is. He moved here from Lebanon to escape, the war and everything going on there. And he
Right.
owns a company called M&J Carpet Cleaning. I own M&E Painting. So we would get phone calls. Our marketing would get mixed up, and they'd call us for carpets, him for painting. So I bump
That's
into him at a
funny.
Starbucks one day, and he goes, "Hey, Matt," he goes, "You're the M&E guy, huh? And how's business?" And this is during the down economy. He goes, "We're down. What are you doing? How down are you?" I go, "We're actually up." "No way you're up. What did you do?" So we strike up this friendship, and he's like, "Let's have coffee every week." And we bump in, have coffee, and share stories. And he invested into me and poured into me. So like the reason I'm doing this today, why I'm writing books, is I want to give that back. So many people
Sure.
invested in me, and you can't sit here as a person and have all of this knowledge and wisdom and have somebody sitting across the podcast or wherever that needs it.
Right.
Like it's a responsibility. It's a human responsibility, I feel, to give that back. And it's one of the
Right.
coolest feelings in the world, right? I'd say selfish for me personally. Like it makes me feel good. But it makes me
Yeah.
feel good that I'm making lives better.
Right.
So yeah,
No,
and
absolutely.
you're never too experienced to learn something new, and you're never too new to not have something to share with somebody else. So keep that in mind
Yeah, there's
too.
no question about it. Yeah. I
So
mean, I'm not like in love with being a lawyer. It's not like the greatest thing I've ever done. I could have been successful other ways, but the ability to I would always want to be helping people,
yeah,
in one way, or one fashion or another. So
yeah,
people come to me with whatever issue they have, and I, help them solve it. And
hmm
it is definitely, fulfilling. So do you still have, I'm jumping around a little bit, but do you
that's
still
fine.
have the painting business?
hmm Yeah,
You
so
do still
where
have the painting
I
business?
do, yeah. So painting that has now layered in other services, roofing, home repair, siding, gutters. We get a lot of hailstorms out here. So I'm not actively involved in the day to day. I really focus on, so my big focus is like, I want to write more books and create leadership content that, my team can use to build the business. So yeah, I'm there from the big picture leadership perspective right now, but we're really pushing to grow the roofing division. I don't have the desire to grow the company geographically all over the state. We did that, been there, done that. We
Yeah.
don't want to franchise it. I just love the opportunity it provides for the people that it provides that to here in Northern Colorado. So we're going to keep that really rooted, really deeply, really strong, and possibly pass it to the family, the kids if they want it. I think my daughter would want it before my son. She's a little business go getter,
That's
and
nice.
then yeah, we'll see where it goes.
So you got that. You're building we'll call it an entrepreneurial community, right?
hmm
And you
Yeah,
got some real estate investments that you're making.
yeah, yeah,
Those are your three areas of concentration right now. I include the
hmm
authoring, the speaking,
yeah.
all in the entrepreneurial community.
Yeah, just trying to build my brand and get out there and let just be a beacon of hope for entrepreneurs. It's like I should
Right.
be telling you, man. Like I can tell you stories from back in Montclair. I should be dead, disappeared, or in prison with all those other kids. So
Yeah.
how do you come out of that environment and end up here? And I love sharing that story with people. I'm a follower of Jesus, so I share my faith story and that environment, and that's been really fun to share with people too. Because going through this business journey, I found my faith in the back of a police car in handcuffs after I should have been drunk and dead in a field. And that was
Right.
probably the 47th weekend that I did that and got picked up. So just the fact that I'm here able to speak to you is a testament that there's a bigger purpose for why I'm here and what I'm doing. And I think everybody should explore
Right.
that within their own lives.
Yeah. That you weren't one of the kids who didn't make it.
Nope. Nope.
Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah. Montclair, I don't know if you've known or seen it lately, but you wouldn't recognize the town. There's high rises everywhere.
Yeah.
Downtown's all built up. It's crazy.
Oh, Bloomfield Avenue's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. Bloomfield Avenue's really gotten, you wouldn't recognize it. Half the things are gone. There's parking lots that are no longer parking lots. They're buildings and things that aren't there anymore. And the restaurants are all New York style restaurants, great. Yeah. There's a great nightlife in town now. It really is. But, that's what happens with areas. They go through cycles.
Yeah, we left right before, I think right before they built the train. You used to have to go to Hoboken to get to the city. And then they built the direct connect train from Montclair. And then that's when things started going crazy. And then they started, knocking down neighborhoods, building up buildings. And I was just back there in December and hung out with a friend out there. So I see my second grade teacher still from Watchung Elementary. I still see her. Shout out to Ruth Rennie. I don't think she's going to watch the podcast. I don't think she has a computer, but I just saw her. And then I speak to a friend from elementary school that I still see. He lives in Caldwell with his family, and he actually runs the Grove Pharmacy down there. If you know Montclair well, right on Grove Street. Yeah.
No, actually, I grew up in the Caldwells. West Caldwell, went to James Caldwell High School. I'm from that whole area, so so I've seen it all change too. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. All right. So, Matt, where can this community you're still building, the whole concept, but how can people kind of interact with you, follow you? They can certainly find your book on Amazon. We'll put a link in the show notes. Yeah. But what's the best way to connect with you, social media wise and so forth?
Best place to go. It's the hub for everything. It's just mattshoup.com. From there, I've got a sign up for a set of free tools, business leadership development tools, all of my morning coffee videos that I do on all the social media channels that feeds to the site. You can learn about the books. I take business leaders over to Spain for leadership adventures and retreats. We're going to hike part of the Camino, 70 miles over 6 days in September. That'll be like 12, about 12 of us. Yeah. Okay. Nice. Yeah. So it's all there. And then from there, I can let everybody know about the new things to come.
Yeah. You'll get on the mailing list and then you'll find out when about the community and stuff like that. Yeah. Well, I can't thank you enough. I think since it's 11 o'clock here, it's probably pretty early out where you are, right? You're at least 2 hours behind me, maybe 3, no?
Yeah, we're 9 a.m. We're 2 hours behind. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you coming on and spending time with me and sharing your story. And I hope people can interact with you and learn from you and, enjoy the rest of the weekend.
Thanks, Mitch. You too.
Thank you for listening to this episode of The Accidental Entrepreneur. Opening and closing music written and performed by Howie Moskovich and made to order music. For information about Howie and his music services, please follow the link in our show notes. If you like the podcast, please tell others about us. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, on Amazon Music, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and most of the other podcast directories. If you like what you hear, please leave us a 5-star review and feel free to share our episodes on social media. If you have any questions or comments, ideas for the show, or you'd even like to appear as a guest, reach out to us by email at info@beinackerlaw.com.
The Accidental Entrepreneur is hosted by Mitch Beinacker and produced by Beinacker Law. If you'd like to learn more about our business and legal services, you can find us on social media or visit our website at beinackerlaw.com. Thanks for listening, and be sure to subscribe to our feed to be notified of all future episodes.